Hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. My name is Jaime Mantilla. This is going to be my second video for YouTube. So please bear with me. I'm not a professional in editing or not a professional presenting. I'm doing this just to get out of my comfort zone and to be able to provide value to business owners just like you if you're watching, and also for SEO practitioners. If you get good ideas from these videos, use them and make sure, this is of value. All right. Today's presentation is it's a hot topic. Is how much should I pay for SEO services? Okay. The people that we deal with, which are local business owners, depending on the budget, sometimes they lowball as far as the SEO services, and the reason for that is because they don't understand what it takes or what is involved as far as SEO. Now, if you want to learn about SEO, I have a SEO Basics 2022 and what SEO is. I'm going to put a link below so that you can kind of watch it and get a better understanding of the behind the scenes. But I may cover some of the items that I cover on that video in this video. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to jump on the presentation. I'm going to leave my head here. I'm going to make it smaller. That way, make it more personal. And, so you can see me interact based on the presentation. All right, so just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna make these small and I'm gonna jump to it. So again, my name is Jaime Mantilla. I am the owner of Your Preferred Agency, and we help taking businesses to the next level. All right, the topic for today is going to be about search engine optimization and how much should I pay for SEO. All right, so the agenda for today, like I mentioned, how much should I pay for SEO? We're going to talk about competitor gap analysis, local SEO versus organic SEO, technical SEO, on-page SEO, and off-page SEO, which are the pillars of SEO. All right. Now, how many websites are there? I like to put this into perspective. There's around 2 billion websites online. That means there's a lot of competition, right? We're talking about like national, or across the globe. And I know that across the globe, there's different industries, different businesses. There's a little bit of everything, but I just wanted to put into perspective what it takes for you to beat the competition. Okay, so let's start high level, and then we're gonna narrow it down. These numbers, I'm gonna kind of keep them general, just to make the point and to help you understand my idea. But let's start here, right? So there's 2 billion websites online. That means there's a lot of content that Google needs to go through in order for them to provide a good user experience. They're just not going to rank a website just because. It has to be topical relevant. It has to answer the user's questions. And us as customers, we are on their top priority, right? So whenever we're doing a search online, they want to make sure that they deliver the best content for the service or for the topic that you are searching for. Okay, so that is very important, and just know that to get there, there are certain items that they look at in order for the websites to rank. All right, so with that said, there's around 2 billion websites online. If you take a look at that number and you say, okay, well, what is my industry and who am I competing against, right? We're gonna use roofing contractors just because it is easier for me to explain that and explain the industry, and it's just an industry that many people touch, so I'm just gonna jump to it and talk about it too. Okay, so we have in United States we have 109,331 roofing contractor businesses registered in 2022. Okay, again, that is United States, but if we take a look at locally, like per state, I'm just going again to just divide it by 50, and we're going to get the numbers. Again, it's not exact. It could be more or less, but just for the sake of simplicity and for you to have a good understanding, that's what I'm going to do. So if we take 109,331 roofing contractor business and we divide that by 50 states, let's say that we make it an even number. That means that there's 2,186 roofing contractors in your state. Okay, now I understand that roofing contractors may be local to one city, one town, one village, and there is roofing contractors that have many businesses that cover different locations and they're and so forth. But again, for the sake of this example, let's say you are a roofing contractor, could be an accountant, could be whatever. Like, this applies to any business. In this case, it's for roofing. So you're a roofing contractor for a specific state. for a specific city. Okay, so in this case, there's 2,186 roofing contractors on each state across the 50 states. All right. Now, if we narrow it down to a city, to a specific location, I'm picking Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater area. We're talking about 83 cities in this metropolitan area. Okay, so let's say if we divide 2,186 divided by 83 cities, that gives us 26 local competitors or 26 roofing contractors competing for the same market. Okay, so again, if you're a business owner, could be whatever business you're in, you have to understand that there is more than one in your industry, and that is who you're competing with. So if you want to be found, you have to optimize your site and optimize your online assets in order for you to surpass them. Okay, so with that thought in mind, we have 26 local competitors, and if we take a look at this screen here, we have the SERP, which is the search engine results page, which is divided in 3 sections. Again, that I covered that in another video. You're gonna have the link below. But you have the paid advertisement section, you have the local map, and you have local organic results. Okay, ideally will be if you show up on the first 3 results of the map and on the first 10 spots of below the map, which is the organic results, right? So keep this in mind. 26 local competitors, and the local map pack only shows or previews 3 spots. So put yourself as a searcher in Google. Normally you will click on the first 3 because of reviews and things like that. And normally you would click on the first 3, the first 5 of the organic results just to get more information, but you barely pass second page or third page, right? So we can assume that 90% of the time you're going to stay on the first page. I would say more than 90%, which is where you're going to find your results, right? That happens to me. I barely go to second, third page, etc., etc. So I would assume that happens to you and to many people that are looking for your services. Now, with that in mind, you have to consider. So let's say if you're a roofing contractor and there is 26 local competitors, you have to compete and make sure that you're optimizing so that you show up on those 3 results. So there's 26 competitors, and there's only 3 positions that are available, that are visible to the users that are looking for your services on the maps. Okay, so that's why SEO is important, and that's why I think SEO is a must. But you have to keep that in mind. Now, if you want to do it below the map, there is 10 positions, and on those 10 positions, you have 26 people that are competing for these 10 positions. Okay, so somebody's going to be left out. Somebody's going to be on the second page or the third page. 26 local competitors. That means that is 10, 10, and 6. So that's 3 pages. And if we know that you don't pass the first page only less than 10%, that means that you're not going to be seen on the second page or the third page. Okay, now that's something that you have to consider when paying for SEO, right? You need an expert, you need somebody that you trust, you need certain skill set to be able to build, topical relevance, to make sure that Google trusts the site, to build authority and so forth. But I'm going to dive into that a little bit deeper. So consider that and keep that in mind for the rest of the presentation. And I'm going to use another analogy, to kind of drive it home. All right. Now, how much should I pay for SEO? This is an analogy that I use, that I like to cover with many people. So let's consider United States as the map, California being the 10th page. That means there's 100 results. Each page has 10 spots, and there is 10 pages. So let's say you're on the 10th page of Google, okay? And then for you to get to the first page, you have to travel to Florida, all right? So how fast do you want to get to Florida, all right? We can get a rental car and drive, all the way from California to Florida. You may have several stops. That's going to take you a long time. These hours are not SEO time, but again, I'm just trying to kind of explain how it works. So if you drive in a car, whether it's a rental car, whatever car you want, there's a speed limit. There's, it could be traffic, could be other things that are going to kind of stand on the way. So let's say you take 40 hours, right? A rental car is very inexpensive, but guess what? It's going to take you more than 2-3 days, right? Um, if you say, okay, well, I have a little bit of more money for my marketing, normally you should consider marketing as 10% of your revenue, right? To allocate for marketing, whether you do paid advertisement, whether you do SEO, whether you do flyers, whatever traditional marketing you do or online marketing, you should allocate 10% of your revenue, right? So for the car, it's going to take around 3 days. It's going to be less expensive. Now, if you take a Cessna, which is a small plane, it may be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to take longer. You may not get there on one shot. You may have to stop somewhere in Texas, I don't know, to refuel. And then, the next destination is going to take you to Florida, which is the first page. So it's going to take a little bit longer, or I'm sorry, less time, but you're going to have to pay a little bit more. Now, if you have your private jet, or if you just, want to pay for it to travel faster and get to the destination, it's going to take you less hours. So let's say 6 hours, but it's going to be, over tens of thousands of dollars to be able to to travel on a private jet. Okay, so just consider that as SEO. It'll be the same thing. If you come to us and you pay somebody $200, $500, I don't know what type of work they're going to do with that amount of money, but that's going to take a long time because there is not much you can do with $500. Yes, you can move the needle. Maybe you can write some content, but just know that labor, the time that we input in the system, to be able to do optimizations or to get backlinks or to just fix technical stuff on your site, on the hourly rate, if you have somebody on the hourly rate, let's say at $100, then, if you have $200, that's only 2 hours, right? But what about content creation, content optimization? What about the backlinks that you need to get? What about the promotion of the site? If you're doing other things like, what are you going to expect, right? So as an SEO practitioner, you have to value your skill set. You have to value the time, and you have to consider the cost associated with the services. And as a business owner, you wouldn't like somebody to come to your business and kind of lowball you on the products or services that you provide, right? You have to know your worth, and you have to understand that we are providing a value to the clients, and we are providing a skill set that not everybody has, right? So for the business owners, just talk to the people, trust them. You have to trust who you're working with. You have to know their skill set, and you have to understand that there is time and effort involved on any services that we provide. And for the SEO practitioners, make sure that you charge what you're worth, right? By you charging 200, 500, you're messing up the market, and it's not fair for the business owners that we help, and it's not fair to us, because that is a disservice, right? If we're offering a very low just to scrape, just because we want to get money or whatever, you're doing a disservice to your client, because you're not going to be able to provide the same results that if they're paying for what it's worth. Okay, so I hope I made it clear. And it's up to you, the business owner, to have that budget allocated for the results that you want. Okay, so could be from 1,000, could be 5,000, could be 10,000, depending of if on the industry that you're in, the competition, the population, and so forth. Okay, so have a conversation, understand where you are compared to your competition, and take a look at the gap that you need to fill in order for you to get the results that you want. All right. So I hope this makes sense. These 40, 12 hours, 6 hours, just consider that as SEO, as on the monthly basis, right? Could be 4 to 6 months, could be 6 to 12 months, could be longer, depending on how new this site is, or how old the site is, or how messed up it is, right? What is it missing? Is it a good sound? Is it built correctly? Then it's going to take less time. If it's not built correctly and it requires a lot of fixing, then it's going to take a little bit longer. All right. So next, on the next slide, I have a competitor gap analysis here, just for you to consider whenever you're jumping into SEO. right? So for this example, it is for a general contractor in Brandon. You have the competitors there, and you want to take a look at, the amount of visitors that they have, the keywords discovered by Google, the pages that are indexed in Google, the backlinks that are acquired, and the referring domains. Okay, so if you take a look at the top three, you see there's some numbers, right? And these numbers are because they've been doing SEO and they've been on online for a while. So therefore, Google already recognized them as an authority, right? We take the average of that. You have the next blue line, and then let's say you are at the bottom. Let's say you just created a site and you want to start from scratch, right? So if you take a look at that, you have no numbers. You're not recognized. You're not an expert. You're not an authority in Google's eyes. So you got to fill the gap. And if we take a look at the difference, you can see 65, 98, 42, 135 backlinks, and 27 referring domains. Now, that is not an exact math. I mean, there's a little bit of, there's different factors, different strategies that we use in order for us to move the needle. But if we just do plain math, you can take a look at the gap that you need to fill, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to give you another example. This is General Contractors Brandon. And go back to the first one, which is a construction company in Brandon. So we went over General Contractor Brandon. We're going to do construction company in Brandon. So in construction company in Brandon, you have, different companies. Let's go back. There is one that is the same, which is Brandon Construction, which is the third one. But for construction company in Brandon, you have, two other competitors that are on the top three. The visitors are, different numbers for visitors, the keywords, the pages index, the backlinks, and the referring domains. Again, we understand what the gap is. You, as being the business owner, whether you already have a site that is ranking or not ranking, for the purpose of this example, let's say this is a brand new site, and then we have the difference, and the difference, that's the gap that we need to fill, right? So for pages index, we need to write content. For the service pages that you provide, we actually have to write blogs that support those services. You actually have to provide blogs that are relevant to what people are looking for. If we stay with let's say with the theme of roofing, you have metal roof, you have shingles, you have different materials that they use for roofing. Could be residential, could be commercial, could be metal roofs do affect like the signal in the house. Like that is a topic that somebody would ask for. As far as the shingles, what is the lifetime of shingles? How often should we change the roof? Again, there's many topics that need to be researched in order for you to be able to build topical relevance in your site. Okay. Again, this is more me kind of giving you information, just top of my head. I don't have anything scripted. It's me kind of sharing information to add value. All right. So again, I hope this makes sense, and I hope that you understand the process in order for you to start ranking for your site or for you whenever you invest on SEO. Okay. So this is the competitor gap analysis. And then this next slide is like, do I want to invest in local SEO, organic SEO, or both? Okay. So those are two different services. You have local SEO service, which is for you to rank on the map on the first three spots. And then you have organic SEO service, which is everything below the map, right? As far as your marketing budget, are you doing already paid advertisement? If you are you doing it on Facebook versus Google? There are different costs associated to it. As far as Facebook, it is a little bit less expensive, but the quality of leads are not as high as if they go to Google, because in Google you have an intent. You go to search for the services that you want. So that's like the first layer at the top of the search engine results page, right? That normally drives 10 to 20 percent of the clicks. The map drives 40 to 60% of the clicks. Below the map is 30 to 40% of the clicks, right? So do you want to invest in both, or do you want to invest on one, or do you want to invest on all three? Paid advertisement, local SEO, and organic SEO. Again, that's something for you to consider, but whichever one you choose and pick, it takes time and effort, okay? There's a skill set associated to each of the services. There's training that had to happen in order for us to be able to deliver these results. And there is labor associated to it, whether you're an agency that you're by yourself, or you're an agency where you have employers or contractors or whatever it is. There's cost associated to every single action that we do in order for us to deliver results. So keep that in mind, so that whenever you're going to talk to an SEO consultant or marketing consultant, just keep all those things in mind. All right. Now, as far as website architecture, this was an example of photographer where the service pages were on the blog pages, right? So the parent page was blogs, and then you have the services, which is not how it's supposed to be structured. So we have to take a look at the structure of the site. Does it make sense the way that it was built? Does it have everything that it needs? Google Analytics, Google Search Console, is it mobile friendly? Is it structured correctly? Do you have enough pages? Do you have all the services in one page, or do you have individual pages for each service, right? So in this case, it had to be restructured, and it would look something like this, right? So you have the home page, you have the about, the services, portfolio, blog, contact, and then you have let's say on the services, you have separated out each service. That way Google knows, okay, well, this page is only for real estate photographer. This page is only for engagement photographer. But when you have a service page that has all the services, then Google doesn't know what to do with it, right? What am I going to rank this page for when you're talking about different topics? Okay, so the understanding of that costs money, right? The labor to do these changes, there's a cost associated with it, right? So keep that in mind whenever you're going to hire somebody to do this work for you. Technical issues. Do we have issues that are page level? Do we have issues that are off-site? Do we have issues that are site level, right? Is the performance of the page good enough? Is the page loading within 3 seconds? Do we have any 404 errors? Do we have any 301 redirects that are needed or not needed? Do we have internal linking? Do we have external linking? Do we have any backlinks? Are we lacking on different areas of the site? Okay, consider that takes time and effort. As far as content creation, right? If you don't have any content on your site, content needs to be written. It has to be written, right? Content is king. Google reads just like humans, top to bottom, left to right. And content relevancy is important, so that whenever they're delivering the results pages to the users, they want to deliver something that is going to make sense for the people that are looking for your services or the questions that they have, whether they're on researching mode or whether they're ready to buy, right? Top of the funnel or bottom of the funnel, doesn't matter. Now when it comes to content optimization or creation, do we have to refresh the content of the existing page, where we kind of take a look at the URL structure, the title tag, the meta description, the headings, and we have to optimize for the main keyword of that page? Do we have to refresh content? Do we have to create new content? Or are we going to just do title tag, meta description, and heading, like a small, let's say you already have good content on the page, but you just need to tweak the meta description, put a good CTA or call to action, or if we have good content but the heading is not matching that content, do we have to update the heading to match that content? The heading, or the H1 tag, is one of the most important tags on the page, right? That is like the title on a book. Whenever you're reading a book, the title, the H1 tag tells you what the chapter is going to be about, and then you have subtitles that are supporting of that H1 tag. Okay, same thing happens with the site. You don't want to have more than H1 tag, and you want to have one H1 tag and H2, H3s that support that H1 tag. All right. Again, that takes time and effort. There is also content that you can create based on an audience avatar. That takes a little bit more involvement, trying to understand your audience, the age, the car that they drive, are they in a certain income level. You can actually create a content marketing pieces that actually target your avatar. And again, that takes more research, more effort, and that it's normally a little bit more expensive than just writing a standard blog, right? Because it is more involved. It takes, it could be 1,500 words compared to, a page that could be 350 to 500 words word count. So again, that's something that you need to consider whenever you talk to an expert, right? So if you want, like say, content marketing, and you want somebody to create an audience avatar to be able to cater to their needs, then that takes research, that takes time, and that takes effort, right? Whenever you're writing content, you need somebody for quality assurance to make sure that the content is written well. If it's not, then you have to edit it. So you need a writer that is an expert in the industry, and you have to go through the checks, right? Make sure that it's not duplicate, that you're not just grabbing content from another site and creating duplicate content. You want to make it unique, so that you're like topical relevant for the audience that you're serving. Okay. As far as backlink acquisition, the backlinks, for those that you don't know, a backlink is like a vote or a mention from another site. So let's say in this example, this is for a shop owner. So let's say, as you can see on the first image here, is check engine service. That arrow takes you to the bottom. That is actually linking to a service page, right? So that is a keyword, making it relevant and letting Google know, hey, this is for check engine services, and it is pointing to the money side or a client side to start building more topical relevance, right? To start building that authority in Google sites, right? That happens on this other one, full synthetic engine oil, takes you to another site, to their site, and then there's another content piece, which is industry relevant, right? Buying a car model that is prone for problems, car models prone to air conditioning issues, and then you have an anchor text or a link that is going to take you to the specific page. So this one is about, the last one here is auto AC repair specialist, and then that links to the service, to the air conditioning page, right? So again, you have an anchor text that has keyword specific to that page, and then you have an article that is topical relevant to the industry that they're in, and then you backlink it to the pages that you want to start ranking, right? To add authority. Okay, so that's how backlinking works. And backlinks also cost money, right? You can do outreach, which takes time and effort, and potentially you can get it free on a blog post. But most of the time you have to pay for these backlinks, especially if it's a good authority, if you guy has good traffic, and is going to boost your rankings quicker than just a toxic website, or just a website that doesn't have any traffic, right? So there's research that needs to happen. You have to make sure that you are grabbing backlinks that are really relevant to your site and that are going to move the needle, right? So again, that's time and effort. This is just an example for a shop owner where we moved the needle within 3 to 4 months. So the goal was to pick 10 keywords and just close the gap as much as possible, right? So in this case, we closed the gap on 160 positions for 10 keywords. You can see that screenshot there. Those are the keywords that we pick, and I can move my head on this side of the presentation. And as you can see, this is the volume of searches on the monthly basis for that specific keyword. You have the keyword difficulty, right? And then you have traffic that was driven to these specific keywords that are tied to a page, and this is the position. So it started, as you can see, the green one, it started, let's say at the bottom, it started at 60, and in 3 to 4 months, we moved the needle 36 positions to 24, that's around 3 to 4 pages jump. On the next one is 30 to 15, that's 1.5 page jump. 22 to 15, that's 1 page jump, and so forth, right? So as you can see, that's kind of what is going to look like whenever you get involved into an SEO campaign with an agency or with an SEO expert. Okay, for that we actually had to do a 2-piece content marketing for an audience avatar, which was around 9,000 words of new content. We target 10 pages and we optimize the 16 content, which is around 5,000 words of new content. As far as on-page optimization, just for the title, meta description, heading, H1 tag. We did that for 30 pages. We wrote standard blog articles for around 500 words. So that was around 8,000 words of new content, interlinking to target pages and trusted external resources. So if we wrote a blog that had any citations to specific stats and things like that, you also have to external link to these pages that we build based on our research, right? We actually did backlink acquisition for relevant and authoritative sites, and that's the example that I gave on this page. And then once everything was posted and live on the site, we will just take a small blurb on social media and then put the link. That way, we start sharing and just for social proof and things like that, right? So those are what we call social signals, which are relevant in order for you to promote content. All right. Let me move my head down here to the corner, and let's continue on the next slide. Okay, overall improvements. This is what we cover. So you have technical SEO, on-page SEO, off-page SEO. Do you want to target every single one of things, and you want a perfect 100% no issue site? Do you want to focus on the high value items that are going to move the needle? So for the technical SEO side, are you being able to track the traffic? So you need Google Analytics, Google Search Console. Your website has to be mobile friendly because not everybody is on their phones. Is the page loading speed less than 3 seconds? Right now we have very impatient users that if your page don't load over less than 5 seconds, then they're just gonna go to the next page, right? Do we have a sitemap that tells the structure of the site to help Google understand what what the site structure is and the different pages that you have? Is the robot.txt configured correctly? That actually tells Google bots or the crawlers to crawl a specific page or to exclude crawling a specific pages. Let's say for a WordPress site, you don't want to crawl admin pages, or there are certain pages that you don't want to pretty much spend Google resources crawling pages that are not going to add value. Okay, so that's something that needs to be dived into and researched. As far as the on-page SEO, do you have good content for the homepage? Is the meta title and the meta description filled in? Do you have internal linkings? Do you have follow external links? Do you have description in the images? Is your URL structure with the keyword in it, or is it user friendly where people can read it or Google can read it, right? You don't want a URL that is just IDs or things that don't make sense that Google cannot understand, right? Are you ranking for specific keywords and group keywords supporting that main keyword? Are these keywords mapped to a specific page that you want to rank, right? We normally see a lot of keywords for a specific page that are not relevant to their main keyword. So they normally get stuck on, 2, 3, 4th page of Google, and they cannot move because it's not supporting the main topic of the page. So we normally have to get those keywords and create new content so that is picked up correctly, right? Do we have H1 tags, H2 tags, H3 tags that are supporting that main keyword, right? Are they optimized correctly? And then you have the backlinks, which of course that's off page SEO, and that's in the analogy of the car. That's like the fuel for the car, right? You can make some movements with content, and depending on the competition and the market that you're in. But at the end of the day, backlinks are like boats, right? It's like referrals. It's like, friends talking about you and how good you are about your stuff, or the reviews on your Google My Business, right? That gives you more trust. Same thing in Google's eyes. The more people that mention you, whether you are mentioned in a news report, whether you're mentioned on certain specific citation, blogs, or other pages relevant to your industry, that actually is accounted for, and that's what helps you move your rankings. All right. So that's of overall improvement. Just consider that there is a lot going on as far as SEO. I know that sometimes you don't see it, especially if you're a business owner, that you're just hearing this SEO thing or search engine optimization, or that you need to do marketing. But SEO, again, since it is so behind the scenes, sometimes you don't see the value. But once you start getting results, then that's when things are going to happen. So Again, consider that SEO is like going to the gym. You're not going to see results immediately, right? Um, it's going to take a little bit of time, but in the long term, it is an organic strategy that is paid for, over time, right? So just keep that in mind. And in conclusion, I would say if you want to invest on SEO, don't see it as an expense. You got to see it as an investment. This is something that you're doing for your long-term growth. Yeah, it may take a little bit of time, but just like if you wanna, if you're overweight and if you wanna, show some abs, you're gonna have to put the work, right? So if you, I'm gonna give you an example. If you are, let's say, 35 years old and you've eaten junk for 35 years, right? But you going to the gym for a month is not going to do anything, right? You have to start from the basics. You have to fix the foundation. You have to detox your body. You have to start moving. You may not be able to run a mile immediately, so you may have to start like walking. You have to fix the foundation, and then once you fix the foundation, then you have to be consistently doing certain things in order for you to get better at it. The same with the site. We have to look at the site. Does it have toxic backlinks? Is everything correct as far as foundation goes? It's like building a house too. If you build a house on a bad foundation, guess what? The house is gonna fall on your face. Okay. Same thing with the site. So whenever you're looking to invest on SEO, just take a look at this. This is funny. This is something that we actually joke around on every single thing. It's like if you want good and cheap, you won't be fast. If you want fast and good, you won't be cheap. And if you want cheap and fast, you won't be good, right? So pick your poison, right? I would suggest, again, look at it as an investment. Make sure that you have 10% allocated to your marketing efforts. Make sure that you person that you're working with, do you want personal relationship one-on-one, or do you want to work with a big agency that you're going to be one number, right? Do you want to double your business, triple your business? How fast you want to grow your business? So these are all conversations that you have to have with the expert or with the marketing consultant. And as far as if you're an SEO practitioner, just consider this as well. How much are you worth? What is the value that you're adding to your clients? Don't think about just collecting money and that's it. What is the value that you're going to provide your clients? It has to be a win-win situation, right? Their success is our success. So take a look at like that. Just not like take pennies out of it and work yourself, unborn yourself, because that is not good for you or good for the clients. All right. I hope this was of value. Again, I'm not an expert in these videos. I'm just trying to add value and give information out. Again, I'm just trying to have fun. I like teaching, so I'm gonna put things together like this to kind of break things down. So any feedback that you have, I would love to hear it. If you want to hear about anything else, please, comment below or send me a text. There is also a link for a free consultation strategy if you want to talk one-on-one with me. So, feel free to click around and reach out if you have any questions. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.